this is our presentation on the Welding Academy, the steps to take to get to the Welding Academy, a little bit on what it looks like in the Welding Academy, and yeah, pretty much everything you need to know.
This is going to be great. Alright, so first off, you're going to start by taking a manufacturing and design class. This has got a few credits to it. You're going to take it in your freshman year if you want to get all the way up through all the classes to the Welding Academy. You should start here. You're going to hit some good core points in the class, basic understanding of welding. You're going to do your manufacturing stuff. Machining can also happen in this class. It's a very good starting point.
It also gets you a little bit into woodworking and stuff too, just kind of get that base knowledge if maybe this isn't what you want to go. It's genuinely a good start to where you need to go. That's after this class is where you make your decision whether you want to go to the metal shop or the wood shop, basically.
It's a good starting point.
Okay, so this is welding and fabrication. This is your next step from manufacturing and design, so more on the welding and more on the fabrication side, no wood. This is up half a credit, grade levels 10 through 12. Yeah, it's designed for people with interest in welding and machining, basically.
Yeah, one of the best things you can do is take these classes back to back in a row. So as many you can get done in the first place as you can will get you closer to that welding academy. So to do as many as the lower level classes as you can, just do them as fast as you can so you can just progress quickly. Alright, advanced welding, machining, and fabrication. This is where you're really going to get into your welding and machine shop type things. The other one was like an introductory level after your woodworking, where you find out where you want to go. This is where you're really going to get into your meat and potatoes of it. So this is also 10 to 12. This is where you're going to be machining a part, and then it's going to have some welding to do on it. You're going to have to use your fabrication knowledge to design. A little bit of computer work can happen in this class as well. Let's see.
Also, in the last class, the welding and fabrication, that does go into a little bit of our machining, like we said, which there's also classes for that too, like Machine Tool 1 and Machine Tool 2, where you'll get that knowledge too of the machining. This is more based on welding and fabrication now, and you're getting more into that.
This is also going to cover multiple types of welding, where in the other classes you're usually going to stick to maybe one, or you'll vary a little bit at the end of the course or stuff like that. This one you're going to hit multiple types of welding.
And you will do some TIG welding too in this one.
A very knowledgeable thing to have is your TIG welding. It's a good experience to have, especially in this class.
And then this is, of course, the Welding Academy, which is basically the final step in your high school career. This is just welding. You weld for the whole year. You take welding math, which will give you that knowledge of the math that is needed to do welding and all that stuff. So your basic math, like adding, fractions, all that fun stuff. You also take blueprint reading for half the year, and that's just one class period of that.
Yeah, lots of good key points. It's a good bridge to the rest of the program over at WITC. You're not gonna really have much affiliation with the WITC side yet, but once you complete this, you're gonna get your ride over to WITC, where you can fully finish the welding program. A lot of good tools you get to learn how to use here. You really get more in-depth with your welding. You learn how to do, because of your blueprint reading, you can learn to do more types of weld. You can learn how to you can prep plates. It's just a lot more in-depth, very good look into welding.
And it's free, so I mean, if you find out you don't like welding or you don't want to continue, I mean, you basically just took it, and you're no cost to you. You can just not do it. And then again, it gives you a good start. Half of the welding academy at the tech school is already done and paid for, so you just go over there, and it's easier too.
makes it a very good stepping off point or a good continuing point. If you want to continue, it's real easy. If you want to just take the class in high school, also very easy. It makes your choices very simple for you. All right, so this is our layout area here in our welding shop. This is where you can do some precise measurements on your parts, get everything ready to be assembled all together. Good place to get ready for your final weldments. Usually you practice on scrap, but then you get the final measurements here, set everything the way you want it, take it back to your welding booth, and get everything just perfect the way you want it. As high grade as possible. We have plenty of precise measurement tools up here. As you can see, there's a lot of tool storage in the center here. A lot of projects take place up here, so sometimes it can get a little bit crowded, but usually everyone's pretty good natured about letting everyone have their proper space and use all the tools that are accessible. The next part of our shop is the machining part. So over here you can see we have two larger machines. These are our mill and lathe, but they're CNC machines. So this has a lot to do with our computer part of the program. These are more for your lower stage classes, not really the welding academy, but still great things to learn and to use in an industrial setting. So not everyone's going to be sitting there running a manual machine. They're going to have a computer run the machine, but you have to run the computer. Great way to manufacture parts as fast as possible. It's really good for those lower level classes. Another thing that you're going to run into in these lower level classes are your manual milling and lathe machines. These are some older machines. They have stood the test of time and a lot of students. These machines have been really good to us, so we try to be really good to them. Doesn't always work though. They're kind of getting older, but they're still very solid machines. You can turn out high quality products on these machines with enough time and practice and skill. So those are our lathes that we have right there for metal turning and stuff like that. If you want to punch more holes and get parts down to size, you're going to be using our Bridgeport machines here. These are our mills. A lot of precise measurement having to do with calipers and micrometers. Lots of precise drilling bits and mechanisms we have in storage units over there. This is all going to be part of your lower level classes. Now, if we're going to jump up to our welding and welding academy, we're going to move to the back here. So off the bat, a big station here. This is our belt sander. So this thing you're going to be using to deburr material. You're not taking off too much material, but you're making it safe to work with. You can get a good layer of grime off that metal, and it's going to make your weld so much more clean. So moving further to the back here, we kind of have our stick set up here. These are where you're going to find your electrodes that you're going to weld with. They're in each box separately, and it's kind of a storage area, but everyone will come here, get the amount of electrodes they need to go and practice their welds. So now we're running into our welding booths here. Everyone has a machine and a booth. The machines can vary, but the booths are tried to set up the exact same in every booth. You're gonna have your ventilation, you're gonna have gas on the side, you're gonna have your table and your stool. Everything's gonna be exactly the way you want it for when you weld. They have nice end caps here where we're gonna have our welding jackets, our hoods, and all extra materials. Moving further back, we're gonna have our press here. This is what we use for cutting thicker material. We try to really be good to these machines because they're allowing us to do so many things that you just can't without them. So getting good coupons from this machine is very good for that. This is a nice heavy duty press we got here. Moving even further back, we have more weld booths all along the sides. And now we're really getting into the nitty gritty here. So this is gonna be our CNC plasma table. This is where a lot of the real magic happens. So everything's gonna come up on this display here, and you're gonna type in whatever you want. When you do a lot of the computer work, you're gonna design parts that are gonna be cut out here on our table. We're gonna throw a big sheet of metal in here, and you're gonna program in whatever you need, and it's gonna run and cut this out. You're gonna get coupons from here, you're gonna get specific parts you've designed here. It kind of takes that milling process that we looked at earlier to a different level because we can just cut it out right here as fast as possible. A really good high quality machine that we use a lot. Moving even further back, Here we have our metal storage area. We have another layout table here. It's not as precise, not as many nice tools, but this is where some of the real work gets done here. It's all heavy duty stuff back here. This is where you're gonna, sometimes you're gonna have to grind on this table, bend metal here. A lot of hard work goes back right here. So we also have our metal storage. This is supposed to be the cart where all of our nicer coupons go. These are all cold rolled parts that were made by Donaldson's Metal Company. Really great partner we have here at the program. They supply us with great coupons so we can work on our final welds. But if you're not going to do that for our own projects, we outsource other types of metals here, all stored under this table. But we really encourage you to work on scrap metal. Scrap metal is your bread and butter here. That's where you're going to get your good welds. You're going to practice, and that's where you're really going to show your improvement. And then when you're taking that final one, you're going to use our nice Donaldson's coupons here. The last thing that we really have to show is our plasma cutting booth. We have a few plasma cutters, but we like to keep this one set up here in the booth. This is another way you're going to get that nice scrap material to practice on. So just by running over the entire shop, there's so many methods to get quality material. There's so many practices you have to learn to get the quality material. And then you're going to use your welding knowledge to take that material and turn it into something. You're going to test your knowledge on it. You're going to practice, and you're going to improve over time. The Welding Academy is really good at progression and giving you the tools to do so.
And go. So I'm going to give you a little overview of what it's like welding and how to set up your machine and stuff like that. Well, first off, you have to grab your gloves. These are no cuts. Just kind of stop you from getting cuts on your hands. And they're really tight, so they're easy to wear. Doesn't take away much of your dexterity, so they're actually nice to have on. And then, so now you come over here. This machine is our ESOP. We also got Miller's too. So you turn it on, make sure it's set to MIG. You're gonna set your bolt settings. I usually run, just for demonstration purposes, up to 250 and around 17, I'll say. Okay. And this is some of the other welding gear. This is your helmet. First you have to turn it on. Put it on. Then this is your welding gas. This is what protects the weld from getting oxidized as you're welding. So you just turn that on, set it around 25, find your MIG gun. Squeeze the trigger and make sure it's around 25. Okay, that's all set up. We're going to remove this because we're not doing stick welding. And then now that we got that all set up, it's ready to go, and it's not. So we'll have to switch this over. This is just basically switching it from stick to MIG. And then we'll go grab a piece of scrap metal. There's a bunch of our scrap. I don't scrap something just to practice on. You always want to use this when you're practicing. We got actual good metal to use when you're doing your finals and stuff. So now that we got it all set up, we can go ahead and lay a bead. This is our welding ventilation. Make sure that's always somewhat above your part so you don't start something or fumigate yourself. Alright, if you want to come on in here. These are our welding curtains to protect from blinding other people with the bright light. Let's show you a little bit of welding. Alright. So you put your helmets down and let's weld. That's a little bit of welding. That's not a very pretty weld. I could have made it look better if I was trying more, but just for demonstration purposes. So yeah, that's what it's like welding. Little overview of it. It gets a lot more in depth than you do other positions like vertical. This would be flat position. You got horizontal. There's a lot to welding, and it's fun. You'll have a lot of fun here in the Welding Academy, and it's not all just welding. You make friends with people, and you get to have a good time. Honestly, pretty much just the gist of the Welding Academy. The next steps would be you'll further your education at WITC, well, formerly WITC, now Northwoods Tech, over there across the street down the ways a little bit. You'll continue education there, and then you can get, there's a lot of different options. Donaldson's is always hiring. There's other welding plate shops and stuff that'll take you, and they'll even pay for your school after this too. And they really like taking kids out of this program because they know it's a good program. So you're pretty much guaranteed a job coming out of this either way.